You are now about to go on a generic side quest.
Welcome to another generic side quest, a generic transmission. Take 2 of our wrestling spin-off show. Unfortunately, last week's episode got corrupted by us not putting on the microphone. So
it's lost to time now.
Yeah, lots of time now. A lot of good content. We reviewed Money in the Bank. We did our introductions. As you guys know, my name is Amriel. I am a mid-card superstar. My co-host on the gaming show is Ricky the Leaf.
Hello, hello.
Jobber extraordinaire.
That's right.
And our main guy, who we strapped the rockets to, Mr. Sean Ali.
The best there was.
The face that runs the place. Will be talking to you guys today about all things wrestling. WWE, AEW, NXT. So first, we'll go over introductions. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Always happy to talk a little bit of wrestling.
Nice to have you back.
Yeah, I like that you guys gave yourself different wrestling nicknames. Maybe one day we'll do a show about all the different terms that have somehow come into our vernacular.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I guess I'll plug my blog real quick.
Yes,
just given that I heard Midcard. So I have a blog out there, Midcard Blogger.
Oh shit.
Mostly just so it sets the expectation. So if it sucks, I'm a mid-carder. But if you think I'm at a main event level, I can't self-profess that because I'm a good old babyface.
Hey.
And, I have as much charisma as Apollo Crews. But he's a great wrestler. Just got to step up that character. But that's not what this podcast is about. We're not here to bury.
Also asked for his release, apparently.
Did he? Well,
Yeah.
3 letters, AEW, right?
Yes, sir.
Or 247.
Oh, man.
Ricky the Leaf.
Yes.
Going off script.
Your intro to these nice, lovely people who are tuning in to hear about wrestling facts. What's your wrestling background?
My wrestling background, I sprinkled. Is it sprinkled? I dabbled
Respect.
in wrestling as a child due to my dad being a huge fan of WWE and WCW and anything professional wrestling. I never got into it as much as he did.
Who's he? Your father?
My dad.
Pronouns, pal.
But yeah, there's friends like me and Amarillo grew up pretty much since we were in grade 3 or so. So
Before.
yeah, and he was a big wrestling fan, and there was other people that were wrestling fans. So I always was in it, but I kind of fell in and out of love with it. But yeah, my knowledge is fairly low. But there are times where I am very interested. Yeah, I kind of know my shit. But there's times where it grabs me.
Yeah,
and
right.
being a casual fan, when it grabs me, I'm like, you know what? This is
solid. This
Yeah.
is good.
so.
Well, that's why you're on this podcast.
That's right. Yes. And you guys are using my equipment. So
Oh,
there you go.
The Kevin Dunn of our podcast.
Oh wow. I have like Ricky the Leaf said, I love wrestling since I was a little kid. I kind of fell out of it for a while, like I would say early 2000s. Not 2001 because that was an extremely great year. So probably like 2005-ish onwards.
The best time.
That's kind of where wrestling for me was in a lull. I still paid attention, but not as much. And I still pay attention now, but again, not as much as Mr. Sean Ali. So I would be like, what would you call me? I'm not a casual, but just above that.
You're a fan.
Yeah.
Not a hardcore fan, but not like just a casual fan. You're a fan of.
Right. Okay, so last week we actually reviewed the Money in the Bank pay-per-view that WWE held. What was your final impression? We won't go over the matches now because we did that last week, but what were your final impressions, Sean?
A couple weeks now. I think it was overall a good show. Money in the Bank is always a fun show. I guess it's interesting to see. I wasn't too happy with the Brock win. I'm still not that impressed.
Right. Even with his current antics?
he could do that without sacrificing other guys,
Right.
and having to put on a great match.
Right.
But maybe that's part of the character, which is what I kind of alluded to last year. I'm supposed to hate him, and I do. So I guess mission accomplished for him. But overall, I thought it was a good show. I thought a good show. AJ, Kevin Owens, or
Great.
AJ, Seth, Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
Kofi. Good championship matches, and then ladder matches are probably the best.
Man, that last ladder match, the men's ladder match, was so solid up until that finish. Ricky, what did you think of it overall?
Yeah, Mr. Casual here thinks it was quite a good show. I gave it a solid 7 out of 10.
Right.
I haven't rewatched it or anything, but I really enjoyed the AJ Styles and Seth Rollins match. That was just a great technical match, and they put on a great story. The 2 Money in the Banks were great. The women's I did critique it on it being felt a little too staged, or like it was just spot after spot.
Yeah.
But they still put on a great performance.
Spot monkeys, brother.
And Bailey winning, I mean, that's the best booking
That
you could
cash
ever
in.
ask for, and then the cash in and everything.
Yeah.
Overall, a great night. There were some lulls in it, but the overall pay-per-view was solid.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I would give it about a 7.5. It was a solid pay-per-view. With a few missteps, there was a lot of referee nonsense.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I think they actually acknowledged the botch with the Samoa Joe and the Rey Mysterio. I don't actually think that was supposed to go down that way.
No.
But yeah, overall, still good. Like you said last week, Sean, you wish Joe was a little bit more stronger.
Yeah.
I don't like Mysterio, so I wish Joe was stronger too. But going forward, we'll see. Rey Mysterio is injured and he's giving up the belt, so this leaves Joe in a prime position to retain or get back that title.
And it makes it the most exciting time for you then, because Ray's injured.
Yeah, exactly. Then we talked about our WWE experience, because we're all WWE fans here. That's what broke us into the fan business side of it. I believe, Sean, you were very positive on them.
I don't want the brigade of the IWC coming after me with.
You have their issues, but you're hopeful.
That's I think I'm positive. I think something today that we'll probably discuss is a podcast where a former superstar kind of talked about the creative process, which really really grounded me actually in maybe I shouldn't be so optimistic.
That's interesting that you say that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. Okay, so fairly optimistic, but after that podcast, maybe not so much.
Not so much. Yeah.
Ricky, I believe you said last week you were pretty much neutral from the time you started to the time now. It's always been the same.
It's always been the same. But I'm fairly hopeful for the future, especially now, because at the time, this was before the AEW pay-per-view.
Right.
And I just feel like...
Remember, this is specifically WWE.
No, I know, but I'm saying like now I feel like I'm more hopeful for WWE, and I might be a little bit more invested because I feel like they're going to actually put in a little bit more effort.
Gotcha.
But that's just me being optimistic about it. Like I don't
yeah.
actually know if that's going to happen. There hasn't been more than enough time yet to make that decision.
Yeah, they haven't even had their first TV.
But yeah, no, I pretty solid all the way through.
Me, I was the negative one last week. Things have been pretty stale, I would like to say. They have just like this huge roster of talent, but they use the same people over and over again. New era, same old shit. But I mean, I'll continue to pay attention, you know. But like Mr. Ali alluded to, of a certain podcast, the Moxly podcast on the Y2J pod. Sean, what did you think? First of all, John Moxley, former Dean Ambrose, let his contract expire. Pushed as a big thing, especially coming down the line. They had a whole bunch of specials, the ending of the Shield's last run, so on and so forth. And then at Double or Nothing, AEW's Double or Nothing, Mr. John Moxley came out to basically start a feud with Kenny Omega. he attacked Chris Jericho after their match. He attacked the ref. He attacked Kenny Omega, and he actually hit the last act of Double or Nothing was Moxley actually giving the attitude adjustment to Kenny Omega off the stage. So with all that being said, Dean Ambrose equals Jon Moxley. What did you think of the pod?
I made a few notes, a few points, but we don't want to go too long-winded. I thought there wasn't anything like a new revelation. WWE creative sucks. Was kind of the thesis statement. And it also, WWE has, killed another professional wrestler's joy for professional wrestling. It's been like he's incarcerated. The last time we heard comments similar to this were probably CM Punk's. Yeah. And there's a lot of similarities. CM Punk left. CM Punk left before his contract ended, but CM Punk's wife was an employee at WWE, similar to Moxley with his wife, Renee Young, being an employee at WWE. So he kind of called it as he saw. I don't think, like I said, he didn't really say anything that I thought was new. He talked about, I think it was pretty evident if you saw the Dean Ambrose character. I would never say throughout his run, Dean Ambrose was one of my favorite superstars. I didn't really, everybody had this hype about this Jon Moxley, now Dean Ambrose.
Right.
I never really saw it, but I think given that he had his ideas and Vince had his ideas and they just kept meshing, he kind of used the analogy of Mentos and Diet Coke. Like, you put it together and you get
this crazy explosion. But he wasn't necessarily for.
No, and I think part of me saw Ambrose as like a Roddy Piper fused with Brian Pillman, fused with Terry Funk.
All right.
Kind of those, like that loose cannon character, brawler, hardcore style of Terry Funk. And I don't think people say, oh, it's the PG era and that's why Vince did it. I don't think Vince got who Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose was. Right. I think Dean Ambrose had a vision of who he was, and he was going to do that within the streets.
But that's classic Vince, right?
Yeah, if he doesn't get you, he gave this example of a promo where he was going to he was going to say like, I was in the streets of insert local town that they were in on a unicycle and I was driving backwards. And then I shared a police or a pizza with a homeless guy and John made the point of like, that's not cool. Like, who cares? What? Yeah, let's go see this guy win.
It's not relatable.
But Vince's point, and it basically summed up was, but it's you. And
that's your character.
Ambrose is like, so I'm an idiot. He's like, no, it's you. You're different. I'm an idiot. So I think if Vince figures you out, it's his show, and it's basically an audience of one. Doesn't matter what you or I think. It's an audience of one, and if we think Ambrose is all these amazing aspects, you're cast for this role though.
Yeah.
And he was like, if that's a role you want, it's not for me. I'm out. He kind of touched on a few other like just promos, wanting to do promos. Promos is a big thing people criticize.
The thing is, we've even heard that stuff from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's far removed from the game now, but he even said it's trash when a writer is writing the words that are coming out of your mouth in front of all these people. Let me be my character. Don't tell me how to do my character. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No, and I think Ambrose somewhat called out, maybe not necessarily Steve Austin, but said the Attitude Era guys are very quick to criticize guys of this generation and be like, oh, they take no risks, they are afraid of Vince, they don't like stand up to him, and Ambrose kind of, bucked that point and said, no, I go to him every time, and he says, no, this is what I want. Yeah. And at the end of the day, he either puts you on TV or he doesn't. These guys are trying to get paid, trying to do a job, so their actual job, not taking the fall and looking at the lights. But I think that piece of these guys being afraid, I think, and you see with Sasha Banks right now, who's kind of taking a bit of hiatus. I think you have a very talented roster and a lot of creative minds who have grown up watching wrestling, who can armchair quarterback a book.
They're fans. They're fans, which is something that they also brought up, which was interesting. He kind of alluded to Vince not being a wrestling fan. Yeah. Which is kind of shocking if you really break that down. Wrestling's in the man's blood. But now also shareholders are in his ear, right?
Yep. But he's always been a businessman too, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. That's a weird statement. That's what Vince McMahon's not a wrestling fan. Like,
I kind of agree. I think if you do something, like I have a passion for like on when I'm not doing this podcast, I'm a counselor. I have a passion for youth advocacy and things of that nature. But I think if I became the manager of my own clinic and I was inundated with people like these are new ways to deliver services, these are
Right.
new trends that youth are facing. My passion for wanting social justice might be killed by if you don't get these numbers into the clinic or these people visited, then people just become numbers and then it becomes funding and then I have to answer to shareholders.
Sure.
I think at a certain point, like you're no longer in your grassroots piece of it, you're in the corporate, and I think that's where Vince kind of falls in some ways. Like I think he's kind of just in autopilot mode of. At the end of the day, I know my byproduct will be wrestling that I once like really loved.
Oh, byproduct. Okay.
But I got to do all this stuff in between to get us from point A to point B.
Right.
So he's doing things in a different area of his fandom of profitability,
Right.
marketing,
Right.
Booking venues and things of that nature, and expanding the deal, making wrestling something people consume in different platforms, social media, their network,
Sure.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
Instagram posts. But all that's connected to two dudes battling or women or whoever battling it out in the ring trying to tell a story, and
Yeah.
he's lost. Like he's doing so much that he can't even get into and tell Rollins like this is how you get heat or this is how you get the crowd behind you. 'Cause
Sure.
I've hired all these people to kind of tell you that.
Unfortunately, because you have these people who've been wrestling for 20, 30 years, they know what to do, but they can't do it.
Yeah.
Moxley said that when he was injured, he was out of wrestling for a long time. 9 months he was out. And one day he started watching it again, but he started watching Impact. He started watching New Japan. He started watching other wrestling organizations, and he was getting ideas for his return to WWE. But then he got a call, and they said, hey, this is what we want you to do. And he said he just felt deflated because he knew all of his ideas weren't going to run with Vince. But with all that being said, I took away a different take. I took away a different take. So John brought up the fact that they try to bury him. I don't think that's true. By putting him in the angle with Nia. I mean, it may be. They've done some underhanded stuff before. But so John said him and Nia got along real good. They laughed about it, and then when they went out, the fans actually popped, and they were like, "Let them fight, let them fight." They cheered, "Let them fight." So one of Vince's zany ideas actually worked. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
The Ambrose stuff when he came out with the security guards and he had the gas mask on and the leather jacket with the fur line. Yo, I actually thought that was cool. To me, that looked pretty cool. He was being a heel, like he was being a traditional heel. He was calling the fans like peasants and you're too dirty. Like, yo, I'm above this. I thought that really worked. To me, what it sounds like is Ambrose had an idea. Vince had an idea. Vince knew his tried and true formula. Ambrose didn't really see it that way because, I mean, again, you have your character. I can't tell you to be a plumber. No, you're in social work, right? So Vince telling Dean to be like, oh, be this wacky guy. People love it. Dean is like, no, that's not me. I'm a hardcore guy. I'm a serious guy. I'm like a diehard guy, you know? But all of Vince's stuff, to me, other than the Shield stuff was whack. The other stuff worked for me, you know? I didn't get to see the stupid Dr. Syringe segment. Maybe that was a bomb. But to me, it was just like two people not seeing eye to eye. To me, it was Vince giving opportunities to a guy. Like you said, Dean or Moxley wasn't your number one guy. He wasn't your favorite superstar. I could say that for me. I popped when he won the championship, but that was about it. How about you, Ricky? How do you feel about Dean Ambrose?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been that big on him or anything, but yeah, my biggest thing would be when he cashed in his Money in the Bank. He was always there, like a solid worker and everything, but never was that big on him. I did like that he had that edge. You alluded to Brian Pillman. He does remind me a lot of Pillman. But yeah, just not a huge fan of his. But what Sean said about the whole thing about McMahon kind of being separated from what started his passion, right? I think is exactly what's happening right now with McMahon and WWE, where it's more like he's stuck in the process of this huge business venture, yeah, and there's so many different valleys and connections and all this that's he's separated from the actual
product.
Two wrestlers in the ring telling a story, right, and then that goes in line with him butting heads with wrestlers on creative decisions, or the creative team in general.
But see, and I get the butting heads thing, but I think his ideas still work. I think they could still work.
I don't think we're saying no to that. But
no, I think his ideas, they do, it's hit and miss. I think it's hit and miss. It's always been hit and miss.
Right.
If you go back to the Attitude Era and Kai and Tai, which doesn't age well, chopped off Val Venus's penis, is that creative?
Almost.
Or almost. Not even, didn't even commit to chopping off the penis, which actually would have got heat on Kai and Tai, and we would have had to reattach the penis match or something, right? Like they have the penis in a nice bag, and you have like, I hope this guy gets his penis back. Like at least there's an emotion.
Right.
But that's not that like, wow, what this genius, right? Like there's no, like the casket match in theory, The Undertaker, probably because of who The Undertaker was and portrayed, the casket match got over. If it was Duke the Dumpster Droese and you had a dumpster match, that guy didn't get that kind of gimmick over. We could have had dumpster matches for years on end because the character, like some of these ideas stick and some don't. I think it has a lot to do with the performer, and when the performer doesn't have the buy-in or the performer doesn't have it, that's where that disconnect happens. And I think it's nice to see that what works, I think as wrestling fans, we have to not be obsessed that we all agree.
Right.
You like that segment, I didn't. Doesn't mean that you're not really a real wrestling fan and you don't get it. Like, you're a mark. Like that's not the point of it. And for those, I just mumbled a whole bunch of wrestling terms. So if that's inaudible, I apologize.
Well, speaking of John Moxley and the correlation to Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman hated Marks. He cut that wicked promo. I think it was in ECW of Smarks. So basically, Mark is a carny term. The people who run the games. Yeah. They see you and they mark you. Be like, okay, this guy, we're gonna take this guy's money away. This is a
sucker.
Yeah. So a smart mark is a guy who knows it's a scam, but will still come around.
Oh, that's me then. That should be my gimmick. Right. Smart Mark.
Yeah.
Smarky?
Smarky. Smarky the Leaf. Well, so I guess that brings us into, and you touch on this, he's feeling passion again for the business now that he's joined AEW. And AEW just had a wonderful pay-per-view called Double or Nothing, their sequel to All In. Sean, Ricky, what did you think about Double or Nothing?
Well, I went in with no expectations and did not know any storylines, I mean, I knew the big wrestlers that signed with them, like Jericho and Cody Rhodes. No, Cody Rhodes runs part of the thing.
Yeah, so he's a vice president.
Yeah, so I knew some of that. And I didn't actually watch the full pay-per-view. I just saw some of the highlights of the night. But I really, really enjoyed Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes.
Oh, yeah.
Goldust versus Stardust. That match, like, great storytelling. Not the most high-flying or quick, energetic guys. I mean, one guy's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Right? But two actual brothers fighting in the ring, and you can feel the emotion. You can feel the passion there. And just that ending, that whole promo that they cut at the end.
The ending with the tears and everything, that was
and
good.
Even, Brandy, did a spear to Dustin. Oh, man, that was amazing. I was going off in my living room.
Yeah.
Overall, like from the other highlights, it was a good show, and that's
a
what
really
you have to
solid
do,
show.
especially if that's like your premiere like pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
Like you want people to take notice. The shots against WWE weren't so subtle at times.
I love that.
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with the throne and
That was sick.
I don't know how I feel about it. I do like the little shot about...
Why wouldn't you like that, though? That's competition.
It's competition, but it's straight out, like, there's no subtlety in it. I feel like
they're the new kid on the block. They have to throw up.
But I like when you're more clever, when it's more subtle. That's why I like when they did the whole, the attendance.
Yeah.
They made a joke out of it.
Right.
That I like. But when you're going straight after a guy directly, it just seems a little bit lazy. It's like how McDonald's or Burger King used to run those ads that, like, took direct shots at McDonald's. It's like...
But to be fair, WWE threw the first shots at the Hall of Fame. Triple H and basically all of DX called out AEW as a pissant company, and Vince will buy it one day and all this garbage.
No, I understand. I'm not saying AEW is the one that started this fight, and whoever starts or ends it. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's not needed. Yeah, it can be entertaining. Like, it was shocking. I remember... Sean showed me on the phone. I'm like, that actually happened during the pay-per-view, right? Like, that seems so ridiculous. And I guess, like, it fit. And lots of people like yourself liked it. It's not that there's anything actually wrong with it. Like Sean was saying, like, we're all allowed to have different opinions on this. That's why we're here. If we were all yes men,
it
would be a very
for the WWE.
Heel term, brother.
But yeah, that's my take on Double or Nothing.
Cool.
Would you?
You're all in, eh?
It was just a.
Will you watch the weekly broadcast?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
When is that actually starting?
October.
In October
yeah.
on TNT.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sean, I know you didn't.
I didn't watch AEW's Double or Nothing. I went back and forth if I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken a very weird stance on AEW. I want them to succeed.
Okay.
And I will not watch.
Do you have
caveat,
a reason?
I guess part of me I'm a loyalist to WWE. I think it comes down to just that. I think you put that WWE logo and that WWE set and that WWE like presentation of wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I don't know if I appreciate what pro wrestling is, but I've never really watched too much Ring of Honor.
Right.
My alternative to main roster WWE is NXT. That's my where I think I'm not belittling AEW because I do think it's not going to be long time competition, but I do think fans who are saying look at Double or Nothing and then look how shitty Raw was. You're not.
It's
comparing.
two different things.
I think if you compare this week's Takeover and Double or Nothing, let's start there.
Right.
Takeover is wrestling based. Double or Nothing right now is wrestling based.
Okay.
Double or Nothing and AEW will supersede, and it should supersede NXT's presentation because NXT is still a developmental.
Right.
It's based in that athletic competition. I do think it will be a competitor for the main roster. It has to be a competitor. I don't know if you guys watched Raw this week, and Sami Zayn did an abysmal electric chair section where the fan. To me, it was horrendous, but whatever.
Listen, it was horrendous, but he saved that. Like,
He
Sami
did,
Zayn
and
is a
he's
really
amazing,
good talker.
He's a really good, and then fans are able to ask questions. Apparently, they asked honest questions. What is scripted?
They were seated.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's good shit, pal. Ask him when he retires. Yeah. That's good shit. Do you miss the ginger snaps? That's good shit. Yeah. I agree. It was shit. But
sounds like he has Tourette's right now.
That's Vince, bro. That's Vince.
But Sammy said, like, you guys could ask me anything. You could have asked me about AEW.
Yeah. Which they cut from the YouTube.
Did they? Because I immediately tweeted, what the hell is AEW? And then I got a tweet like, oh, you just made the list. Like, well, you and your 80 followers can talk about your list. And my 81 followers and me. But, yeah, I think...
You can't be following yourself and call yourself 81 followers,
no.
all right?
I will say this. Today's what, May 30th?
Yep.
I said I'm not watching AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. If one CM Punk does sign with AEW.
So the next pay-per-view is in Chicago.
Right.
Oh.
So from May 30th to that time, we'll come back and I'll be like, AEW is the greatest thing I ever saw. I watched it from the beginning.
Damn.
Triple or Nothing.
From Time Fan.
Yeah, but
Okay, so have you going back to Double or Nothing? Have you?
Yeah, I know that. Like, I know the results. And I know the overall reception.
Okay. Did you see any clips of the matches?
I saw one clip of Phoenix. I'm not, like I said, I'm not planning to watch the show.
Sure.
I'm a Pentagon fan.
Yeah. That was an amazing match. I love that match.
Yeah. What has me most excited is hearing kind of Ricky as a casual fan having interest.
Right.
That to me is the spark that the wrestling business needs. Does that mean he's going to be a lifelong fan, or he's going to buy the merch, or he's going to go to, but he may, as we do with WWE, watch the periodic big shows. That may be something that happens. Double or Nothing could
Paul
be their
White.
WrestleMania, right? Like, that's a good one. Yeah, so that has me excited that at least I think someone also that was connected to you, Ricky, friend came to, shout outs to Ricky's Game Nights, came by and talked about AEW, and it was someone who I didn't know, like, watched any wrestling, and
really?
shared, like, that's something I'll watch.
Oh, wow.
On their pay-per-view. I had actually a young person I used to mentor. AEW is going to take over WWE and it's real competition. And I like to troll this guy and play dumb and be like, I was like, you watched the show? He said, yeah. I said, how much did you pay for it? Oh, I found it on a stream. I said, that's why they'll never pass WWE. You're going into your penny and nickels, and you're nickel and diming a company, and I was like, profitability is what speaks, my friend. So I know you're 17 and got no job, and I kind of cut a promo on this young man, which is basically how I invest in my business. I put him down, and then they come back to see me in the counseling office.
Oh gosh,
that's the heel turn of this counselor on this pod. So now I'm gonna lose my license. But anyways, it's kayfabe, brothers. I'm not really who I am, but yeah, I think.
What do you feel about the energy surrounding AEW at least?
I think people are just excited for something new.
Okay.
I think they need to calm it down in the mom's basement of, this is the greatest show that has happened.
Okay.
WWE sucks. Because how do you know that WWE sucks? You're still watching it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's
take a stand.
wrestling fans in general.
Stop the cancel. I'm going to cancel my network. You're streaming it, so you're going to cut the cable or whatever in your home. Like, you're going to tell mom stop paying for the 30 gigs of internet. Like, what is your stance?
Well, the stance is I will cancel my subscription.
Yeah, and I guess I'm basically sending half of you who are basically fulfilling this identity away from this podcast, as I call you out. But yeah, my frustration has always been that, and I love wrestling podcasts that call out wrestling fans who are listening to their podcast.
That's so meta, eh?
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, we need to fight with each other, right?
But that's a culture.
But I'm not putting you guys over.
All right.
But it's true what you're saying, though. Like, the response I've seen online is like, this is amazing. It's going to bury WWE.
That's excitement. That is excitement.
It's excitement, and I did
and
enjoy
that could
it.
potentially lead to, ratings, which could potentially lead to a burial of the established.
I understand, but
King of the
I'm in Sean's boat in terms of, I think people need to calm down, but it does make things exciting.
I like that they're excited.
Yeah,
like
and nothing against those people. I mean, I really enjoyed the show, and I'm looking forward to the next pay-per-view. So,
I like Double or Nothing. I really like the matches. There was this one match with all Japanese girls. It was kind of a little bit sloppy, but it got the job done. I still don't know who they are. I will go investigate now. Karma or Awesome Kong made her debut, but I don't think it's full time. Again, Young Bucks, that was an amazing match. Kenny Omega, I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega guy, but he puts on good work, and I'm a Jericho guy, definitely. What else? John Moxley was exciting. Bret Hart, that was insane. I didn't expect that at all.
That was crazy, yeah.
He came out and he revealed their title, which their title looks legit.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you, Ricky. I'm all in, and I will probably tune in to at least a few of their weekly episodic shows. Probably I won't tune in 24/7, but leading on to that, what do you guys think of?
I see what you did there.
What do you guys think of the new 24/7 belt? I mean, we touched on it last week, but What do you think now that we've had 3 champions?
4, I believe.
3.
Titus
Who
O'Neil.
cares? Who cares? Who cares?
Okay.
This title, yeah, who cares? I have a social experiment. Ricky, I think you have a niece. How old is she?
Well, one's 13 and the other one's 10.
Okay, so she might be even too old for this exercise. But
Yeah.
I would like to see if you told a 10-year-old, hey, wrestling has belts. Could you draw for me what you think a 24/7 belt would look like?
Right.
And she would probably come up with something 10 times better than what we have right now, which is a green belt.
It kind of looks like that boxing belt, but like way more basic.
And no prestige related to any kind of, like...
No personality.
And it looks like it has a clock on
Yeah.
it, but I think it says like 24/7. Anyways.
I don't think there's any side plates. There's side plates, but they're not engraved.
No, because you'd be unscrewing them every, like, mid-match as you hit the 3 count. So, yeah, Titus O'Neil, I guess, won it in pick this title up and it's yours. Okay, great. And then he won it. Bobby Roode rolled him up, 1, 2, 3. He won it. Then he was running around like a buffoon backstage. And the buffoonery continued with guys almost in single file running. Where is he? Where is he? And the part that they did get me was Drake Maverick, GM of 205 Live, trailing behind so slowly.
Right.
And then R-Truth asked for a drive, or Bobby Roode asked for a drive. R-Truth was like, yeah, get in. Rolled him up, had a ref in the front seat, which again... I'm kind of burying the title. There was like I had like
you don't have to bury the title. WWE has already done that for you.
I laughed at when he opens the door and the ref is there. So there's like small parts of a fun show. Raw is 3 hours. I laughed for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
At these gags like that could be like your YouTube title or like why didn't they call it the wild card title? At least build off this wild card nonsense of like these guys can show up anytime and there's a belt now and it's. Like...
Have some kind of card design in the belt or something, Sean, apply for creative.
No, because I will go to Vince McMahon and say, hey, this is a title that you could call the wild card title.
It's good
the
shit.
24 title is good shit, brother. Come on. 24 hours a day. Anybody can pin someone. Are they going to pin someone at 10 p.m.? No, because we're not filming it. Well, we should film it. Fuck you, brother. Like, come on. He's like, this is what's going to happen. And now we have an E rating for our podcast. I apologize.
Listen, it is invocative of the hardcore championship that they had.
Excuse me.
It's invocative of the hardcore championship that they had in the Attitude Era, the Crash Holly rule of pinning 24/7. The bits with R-Truth have been hilarious. And Carmella, that's been real good. They've buried this title so much. The last SmackDown, it was a tag match between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Shane McMahon was in the match, I believe. No, Shane McMahon was ringside. R-Truth was Roman Reigns' tag partner. It was Drew McIntyre and Elias. Obviously, Roman got the pinfall on Elias, who earlier in the night beats R-Truth for the 24/7 championship. After the match, Elias is still in the ring, suffering from a spear. R-Truth is crawling over because Roman is saying, "Hey, come here, pin him." R-Truth then pins Elias for the 24/7 championship.
Second reign.
Why didn't Roman Reigns pin Elias for the championship? Is it because the championship is not worth a damn? That segment alone was like, this championship does not matter.
Yeah. If ever there was a PSA for like pay no attention to the title behind this curtain.
Yeah.
That was it. Like Elias was the 24/7 champion, which by definition means you must defend this title at any time.
Right.
Unless Shane's like, oh, we're gonna remove that rule for the match. So I hope
what he actually said?
He said that. So I hope that when they give away this U.S. title and there's a match announced, we're stopping this match because this is now the Canadian title until the bell rings. Or the Intercontinental this is now just a local community center title. Or the universe has been like, make up your mind, which they won't, because it's good. It's good shit. I can't wait till that's a T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. But
man.
Oh, it's gonna be.
It'll be on our merch store soon.
Oh,
Moxley
man.
should have that.
I think we have Fruit of the Loom white tees on our
Oh,
merch store
man.
right now in a pack of $6.99 Walmart.
Pick them up at Walmart.
Yeah, that penguin.
Smart centers.
Yeah, I don't have any more to say really about this
Okay,
title.
Ricky, what do you think of it as a casual fan? What do
As
you
a
think?
casual, I mean, when it was announced,
Have you seen the segments?
I watched a few of the segments on YouTube.
Right.
This past Raw where R-Truth was running away from everybody.
Yeah.
And then, who's the GM of, you mentioned his name of...
Drake Maverick?
Yeah. Like, he was putting up the posters and
Rockstar
everything.
Spud.
And, like, it's humorous, yes. Would I tune into the show just for that? No.
Nah.
For the next little while, will I probably watch these highlights on YouTube? Yeah. So at least they have me hooked there, and if they do something actually creative or something cool with it, maybe it would get me to tune in and watch.
So right now, sorry to cut you off. Right now, it's basically like a Firefly Funhouse.
Yes.
Okay. So
It gets me to watch some clips on YouTube, but I'm not going to go and tell someone at work, yo, you should see what they did with the WWE 24/7 belt. Remember the hardcore? No, I probably wouldn't do that right now.
Right.
But it's a good 30-second laugh for now.
Okay.
Can I make one point, and we'll see if I'll put myself, So, Universal Champion Seth Rollins,
Yes.
number one contender Baron Corbin as of Monday.
Right.
You guys care?
No, sir.
Dolph Ziggler came out and attacked Kofi Kingston, who's a WWE champion. They'll compete at Super Showdown as well. The story should have been me. Does that appeal? Do you?
I like Dolph Ziggler, but I didn't.
Aside from let's look at the story. Like this feud, right now, Ziggler,
It should have just been
he just showed up and he's in the title picture.
No, it's lazy.
Right.
It's lazy.
Intercontinental Andrade has been beaten by Finn Balor.
I don't care about Andrade. I can't. They don't give me a reason for it.
All right, so we're already done there.
Yeah.
U.S. title. The Raw Tag Champs, there's no contender.
Yeah.
Daniel
The
Bryan-
Revival still have it, right?
No, the
Usos?
Hawkins and Ryder are the tag champs.
Oh, what the? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you
And
see?
who cares?
You see?
Becky Lynch and I think Lacey Evans for the Raw.
Ugh.
Bailey has no opponent. SmackDown is Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, and their contenders are Heavy Machinery, right? So
What about the women's tag?
the Iconics, who have lost ever since they won the title. Who I do like the Iconics.
I do like the Iconics.
I guess my major point here is I can't wait to see Drake Maverick capture the 24/7 title. They've made me invested that this guy has been. That's what he's after. He's had posters.
Right.
That is, as we've done a little sample size here, possibly the best title story right now.
Lord.
So I'm not all in, but
Yeah.
I might be close one day. So.
I am actually interested in the Kofi Ziggler match. I get it, but because I'm a little smarky and I follow up with interviews with Ziggler and stuff, he's getting into like a meta game. He actually has a good position right now of being like an AEW guy, just in WWE, in my opinion. But most of those titles that you said will be, except the women's titles, will be defended, or their champions at least show up on Super Showdown. Sean, I know you have strong feelings about this.
So similar, Super Showdown taking place in an unknown location unless you watch the show. It's part of their deal with Saudi Arabia. I watched Greatest Royal Rumble, so I'm not like full of all my morals, but just based on some of the, and even like a podcast like this, you sometimes wonder, freedom of speech in this nation is something maybe we take for granted, but just kind of the business affiliation just makes it something I don't watch as of now. I watch wrestling to kind of get away from the real world, but when you're in a location that promotes kind of hate and the dehumanizing and the
Murder.
devaluing of life, it's hard for me to support that. So
Which is, I mean, I get it, but what country doesn't? It's just, I don't know. They do it different there. But But I get where you're coming from. Me personally, I don't really care. If the card was good, I would watch it. It's okay. I mean, I'm not the highest on WWE right now, so I'll probably skip this one. I'm really looking forward to the Grandpa versus Grandpa match, Goldberg versus Taker.
Which will probably just end up being a tag match against a Revival or something.
Oh, man.
Right? Like, let's call it what it is.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go over the card if anything pops out to you guys. I don't really care who wins or if you guys...
Do you think anything will come of this? Do you think
No, because I think they know no one's watching this.
Okay.
So this is just like a glorified house show.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other one was just more like there was no. Was there storylines
There
that
was
continued
like
after
Shane
that?
became the best in the world.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they,
which
they
he
continued
is.
that.
Yeah. In an unknown location. You have Triple H and Randy Orton for the first time in 10 years.
Is that what they're pushing it as?
No,
Oh.
they're pushing it something. I only know this match is the crappy main event that followed Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
I do not care. I'm not a fan of Triple H, the wrestler. Randy Orton is he's Randy Orton. I don't care. I think Triple H is going to win.
There's a 50-man battle royal. 50-man battle royal.
Right.
30 guys will be gone in 30 seconds. Who cares? Who cares who wins? There's nothing up for stakes.
Hey, the 24/7 belt might be defended during that
During the match, yeah.
There you go.
Braun Strowman won the first one, right?
Yeah, and he won a Saudi title.
Right. Do you think that'll appear?
Probably, but
What rules were put in place for this pay-per-view last time? This is making me more like interested in the wackiness of this.
Goldberg versus The Undertaker for the first time ever.
That's pretty big. I don't know. That hits my my Attitude Era fanness.
The feels.
Yeah. Legit. I really want to see. I know he can't go anymore. I know Undertaker can't go no more. Goldberg, I mean, some could argue could never go. But I'm still very interested in that match. And it takes these events to have a match like that, to bring Shawn Michaels back out of retirement, to have these like spectacles. I know it's not the most ethical thing, and the results actually, I mean, that Shawn Michaels match, that was hot garbage. But it's still good to see. It's still a good footnote in history, you know? What's next?
Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, which you probably saw 3 Raws ago.
What the heck?
Finn Balor versus Andrade, as we touched on.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon.
They've been building to that. Do you think the storyline will cap here, or will it continue?
Part of me thinks it would continue, because I thought it would take place at SummerSlam. But,
Me too.
Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler, because Kevin Owens didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia.
And is that for the actual belt?
And that's
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
WWE Championship. Yeah, I think you guys. I don't know. I have no opinion on Dolph Ziggler at this point. I think he kind of comes back and always says like, "I need to win this," and never does. So
Right.
I don't care. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin.
Ugh.
I'd love to see Baron Corbin win, just because he won in Jeddah, where everything that's terrible happens. And then Lars Sullivan versus the Lucha House Party
Oh, they're actually.
at the Super Showdown.
Oh my
Is interesting.
God.
I appreciate it. They're not jobbing them entirely. He didn't just destroy them. They'll get a chance. It won't be a good chance. They'll get a chance. So yeah, that's your Super Showdown card.
The best review you'll hear on the internet.
Yeah, and I mean, when it happens, we'll probably talk about it. But other than that horrible pay-per-view will go on to like a better pay-per-view, a renowned pay-per-view at this point. The NXT Take Overs.
Yeah.
Sean, I believe you're doing a list on your blog.
Yeah, so this is NXT 25. So at the
wow.
conclusion of this takeover, I've already kind of gone underway. I'm trying to compile the top 25. Or not the top, there has only been 25. I'm going to rank all 25 NXT takeovers. I've had fun making lists in the past, and they more so now. It's I used to go by trying to be as diplomatic in what I think was the best. Now I put it in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know how familiar you guys are with NXT at this present stage. If it's anything you've ever tuned into, or
I've tuned into a few of the takeovers. Like I think they had 2 in Brooklyn. Those are pretty good, but I didn't. It was kind of like an AEW thing for me. Like I didn't know too many people. I know. Like the talent is there. The talent actually gets to express themselves. What do you think? Like, do you think people should tune in?
I think so. How about if I give you guys the card? I won't do like predictions, but I'll give you like a very brief description of each guy, and then if that captures your interest, maybe we'll see. So we have a singles match. I'll start from the bottom of the card and make my way up. Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. Matt Riddle could be comparable to like your RVD, has like a mixed martial arts background. That's the guy who doesn't
wear shoes, right?
Doesn't wear shoes. Yeah. He's like, his thing is like bro and like very like right. Like a cannabis user kind of thing, which I think he was banned for when he did compete in mixed martial arts. So he's got kind of like that RVD kind of like cool, like laid back appeal. Yeah. He's the babyface in this match. He's scoring off against Roderick Strong, who was like he's of Ring of Honor fame, like something to do with the backbreaker. Roderick Strong, an amazing in-ring competitor. Yeah, might lack a little bit on the charisma side, but I think there's a faction called the Undisputed Era that he's a part of.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm just trying to think who Roderick Strong. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rick Martel. Kind of like that, like really good hand in the ring. Not so much on the charisma, or not so much on the mic.
So like for a modern take, Bobby Lashley?
Better than Bobby Lashley in the ring. Oh shit!
Okay. With headband or without?
Without headband. I'm trying to think who. Think of a guy like he's a little bit like a Ziggler. I think Ziggler has a bit more charisma.
Wow. Okay.
So not like Ziggler, man, because Ziggler has charisma. I'm trying to think somebody who's kind of wooden on the mic. But again,
got you.
So this should be a great match. So it's kind of like your opening match, and usually they start the takeover cards with a hot match. Next we have, so in NXT, their secondary title is called the NXT North American Championship.
Okay.
In NXT, they don't displace the title. They don't change the rules about it. So it will still be the North American Championship while that match takes place. We have the Velveteen Dream, who's kind of a Prince character. He's not Goldust. He's made teases in the past, but I don't think it's kind of like this kind of androgynous character. Yeah. And he's squaring off against who used to be main roster and is now back is Tyler Breeze. Who's kind of like the model character.
I'm actually excited for that one.
Yeah, so that should be a good match. Tyler Breeze, as I've gone back to watch TakeOver, has kind of been an MVP and an unsung hero. We have a ladder match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships.
Exciting.
The War Raiders, who became the Viking Experience, who became
they're
the
back
Viking
down?
Raiders, vacated the NXT.
Gotcha.
So this is a fatal 4-way. So we have a hard-hitting team of 2 guys, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch. They're kind of like your brawler, tough guy wrestlers. Nothing like exciting about their appeal, but
so
think
like
of
the
like
Revival.
Kind of like the Revival, but with like a kind of like Steve Blackman, Bradshaw toughness.
Okay.
Kind of those guys, like a real like blue collar team. So they're one team. You have a team
Smoking Guns.
Bit better, just like really tough guys, like your bar brawler kind of guys. They're squaring off against a team called the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, who are kind of like your hip hop, fashion, like
Crime Time.
Not Crime Time, like a very charismatic, kind of like adopting parts of black culture, like really like from like the James Harden like Stir It Up. Your cocky athletes.
Okay.
They're both African American athletes. Very a good team. Very high charisma. Yeah. Which sometimes WWE doesn't really portray. Doesn't capitalize when.
Who is your favorite between the two?
The 2 guys in the team?
Between the 2 teams.
Probably the Street Profits, but the Street Profits are missing something. I think Montez Ford is going to be the breakout star of that team, and I think he's better as a singles. But Angelo Dawkins has been in NXT for a long time. The Undisputed Era, which is part of Roderick Strong's faction, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, who used to be Red Dragon in New Japan. They are former NXT champions. Really solid team. And then the Forgotten Sons, who I forgot are in this match. Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, kind of a very generic like If you were to play 2K and you had to upload a team, they would be that team. I think the selling factor would be the ladder match, kind of. But it's a time for one of these teams to shine. I think is
Sure.
is a big piece. And then the NXT Women's title is Shayna Baszler,
Oh yeah.
also a former MMA. Used to be in the Four
She's
Horsewomen.
legit.
Ronda.
Yeah.
She's squaring off against Io Shirai. She's like an undersized, very popular, was a dominant in the Japanese scene. I'm not too familiar with Io, but I know that she has an awesome moonsault. It should be a good match. Like typically takeovers have good matches, but I don't want to compare Io Shirai to Kairi Sane. That's
Right.
kind of,
Man, I love Kairi Sane.
but they're both kind of that mold. And then your main match is Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole.
A baby.
For the NXT Championship. Gargano is kind of like your Daniel Bryan babyface.
Right.
And Adam Cole, for some reason, reminds me of HBK.
I don't I like Adam Cole because he was Bullet Club and he did New Japan and all that stuff, or Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
This may sound like Vince McMahon. I don't see. He's like a vanilla midget. Like he's small. He doesn't have the build.
Good shit.
It's good shit, right? But he performs. He's a good worker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't get behind him. I like his catchphrase and everything.
Yeah.
I like the air he holds about him. He's definitely a leader. It's just I can't see him as a professional wrestler.
Yeah. It's interesting. He reminds me personally, and I think he's a better improved version of Seth Rollins. But
Shit. Okay.
I would much rather see Adam Cole in the spot of Seth Rollins than Seth Rollins. But
Wow. End this podcast right now.
No, that's good. Because that's like you watch NXT, so you'll have a better opinion.
And I don't watch the NXT TV weekly, but takeovers are always like captivating shows.
Yeah.
And I think kind of gauging kind of just the general interest. It's a lot of guys who are unknown, right? And so that's always the risky part about investing an hour, 2 hours of watching a wrestling show and it feeling like something you may not leave, but I guarantee there'll be a match of the year contender on this night.
Of course.
6
stars.
Yeah. So I think if you did like if you liked A&W, you'll like Harvey's. But if you like AEW, you may like NXT Takeover as well. So
that might have just sold me right now.
Are you tuning in?
I'm tuning in. Yeah.
Okay.
I will watch it.
I definitely will.
Maybe live, maybe not. Good thing about the network, but
what day is that?
It's June 1st, so it's Saturday. Saturday at 7. So
awesome. All right. Well, that was an eventful podcast. We will leave you with that. We'll say go Raptors go, as today is game 1 of the NBA playoff finals.
Raps in 6.
Raps in 6, yeah. Sean, where can the people find you if they want to?
Well, don't look for me, but if you must find me, if I've been that captivating, probably the best place is Twitter. Right now my handle is walk with Ali after walk with Elias, but I think I might change it back to mid-card blogger and brand myself, to speak.
Right on.
This has been, I guess I'm a mid-card podcaster right now. So if you don't like it,
hey,
who cares?
You're the face that runs the place around here.
I'm putting over new guys. So if you're there, follow me on Twitter because I basically use it just to chat about wrestling.
Cool.
And kind of not anything else that really matters to everyday life. So, hit me up because I get no mentions. I don't want any DMs. But hit me up if you're up for a good wrestling debate or a good wrestling chatter. So
cool. Ricky Leaf, where could they find you?
Under Ricky the Leaf. I have no wrestling content on my social media, but you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat,
under what
Pinterest.
Handle? Under what handle?
Ricky the Leaf. Sometimes you can find me 8-Bit to the Future.
Cool.
And I have been going as Drake Quintel. If you want to add me in Pokemon Go, I'm a level 39 Valor.
Right on. I am not a social media guy, but you can find me here on Generic Side Quests. We talk about games, wrestling, and anything else. Thanks for joining us for this generic transmission, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.